Hi guys, how are we doing? Thanks for joining me again. If you haven't been here before, my name's Peter. You're listening to Thailandbound, and today I'm reading out 3 viewer stories. These are 3 brand new stories, haven't been read out on my channel before, so I'm going to jump straight in with story number 1.
สวัสดีค่ะ
I have listened to many stories shared here, and over time I have formed my own views about freelancers in Thailand because it's always a gamble bringing someone you do not know back to your room. There are certain warning signs that I have learned to watch out for, and I am simply sharing this as friendly advice so people can avoid their own problems. One thing I noticed straight away is tattoos. I'm not talking about small butterflies on the shoulder. I mean girls who are heavily covered in random tattoos that look like they were done in backstreet shops. It might sound harsh, but tattoos done in dodgy places often mean dirty needles, and that can spread disease. So my rule is simple. If she looks like a colouring book, I walk away. Another thing is the handbag or backpack. A common routine when a freelancer comes to your room is she heads straight for the shower. Before she goes in, I always pick up her bag and place it somewhere in plain sight. I tell her straight, keep your bag where you can see it. That stops anyone trying to set you up later by claiming something went missing while she was in the bathroom. As Peter has said many times, some of these girls can be clever in ways you do not want to experience. Then there is the minibar trap. Before I go out for the evening, I remove everything from the minibar and lock it in the safe, and I always take a photo first to remember how everything was arranged. There is nothing worse than coming back later with a lady to read the TV guide only to discover that somebody with sticky fingers has emptied your drinks. The hotel will charge you 4 times the real price, so do not leave temptation sitting there. Money discussions are another major red flag area. Always agree the price clearly before anything happens, and if she wants some money in advance, I treat it like a restaurant. We eat first and then we pay. If she demands cash up front, I give her a token amount for her time and show her the bedroom door. Then I move on and look for somebody else who is more reasonable. I prefer a little humour when they start the negotiation. When a girl asks me how much I will give her, I sometimes say, I want it for free and you want 1 million baht, so we both are wrong. Now she should tell me her price and I will say yes or no. Time is another thing people misunderstand. 1 hour does not mean she is there to discuss world politics or Bible stories after you have finished reading the TV guide. Look at it as paying her to leave, not to stay. If you start expecting romance or deep conversation with a freelancer, you will likely end up disappointed. Another situation to avoid is when she brings a friend. Suddenly, you have 2 strangers in your room and 2 people who can back each other up if they decide to make up a story. If 1 girl is already a risk, then 2 is pure madness. Walk away from that one. Hygiene is not a subject people like to discuss, but it is important. If she has bruises on the inside of her elbow or around her ankles, those could be needle marks. If she looks sleepy or spaced out, she might be using something. Missing or rotten teeth can also be a warning sign. I always check hair, nails and skin because if a girl cannot look after herself, she is not going to care about you. Stay alert and judge what you see. Pain is another strange tactic. If she starts talking about pain before anything even begins, that is a big warning sign for me. I have been caught out 3 times and nobody cares if you complain. It is awkward when she is already talking about feeling pain before you have even opened the TV guide. Once I've even told a girl she should apply for a job at an ice cream shop because she clearly was not suited for this type of work. In situations like that, just pay and move on. One way to change the mood is to open the TV guide and ask if she wants to watch the world news with you because there is already enough pain happening in the world. I also give advice to the girls sometimes. I tell them to always let someone know where they are going and send a photo of the person they are with. It is for their safety because some girls are clueless. When they say thank you for caring, it tells me someone at least listened. There are real dangers out there and we have all heard the horrible stories that end badly. Finally, Be careful of unusual offers or situations that feel scripted in a strange way. If something does not feel right, trust your instincts. Once I told a girl to go home and do her homework because I could sense something was off. I often see a woman at Therme who must be over 65 and nobody ever chooses her. I feel sorry for her because her time has passed, so now and again I hand her a small note just to make her day. She smiles and it costs me almost nothing. The girls around notice that too, and it reminds them that not every guy is out to cause trouble. The nightlife here is full of risks and temptations, but with a bit of caution and common sense, you can avoid a lot of problems. Stay sharp, stay polite, and never let your guard down. So a lot of good advice in that short story there. And in fact, about a month ago, just by coincidence, I actually uploaded a video called "The Dangers of Dating a Freelancer." I had a few people leave comments and say, "Well, you're not really dating if she's a freelancer." But the whole point of that video was kind of to elaborate on what this guy had been saying here, the dangers of, taking a perfect stranger back to your room. I must admit, though, I did have a bit of a chuckle when I read this out the first time. I always edit the stories before I read them out, just make sure they're YouTube compliant. And when I read the bit about the rotten teeth, I mean, okay, he's got a point, but if I was looking for a freelancer, just for example, and she had rotten teeth, I think that'd be the end of that one anyway. I'd move on. Who wants to take a girl with rotten teeth back to their room? Right, okay, let's now jump into story number 2, and this one's quite a bit longer. Hi Peter, I've been listening to your channel stories for a long time and enjoy it very much. Today, I decided to share my own story as well. It might come out a bit long, so feel free to shorten it at your will or make adjustments wherever you see fit. I trust you with my story and only send it to you as I can tell you are genuine and have been doing this for a long time. I will start with background, even though it's not directly connected to Thailand, but I think it's important to get the context right. I come from a Western country, which I do not want to share for privacy concerns. In my late 20s, I married who I then thought was the love of my life. During our time as a married couple, I also started my own business. The future seemed bright as a young man with big dreams of personal success alongside having my own family. At that time, everything seemed to be going great. However, life did not really go as planned. After 1 to 2 years of marriage, we started trying to have our first child, but did not manage to do that. It turned out I had a male fertility issue and low motility problem. This started to cause a lot of friction in the relationship as we could not do it the natural way and were reluctant to start any IVF treatments at this stage of life. We started having more and more fights between us over time. With the relationship going downhill, my business also started to run into financial troubles, which further rocked the foundation of my life and made her and me feel increasingly insecure about the future. I was about 32 to 33 at this point when my wife told me she had an important announcement and wanted to talk. We sat down in our rented apartment living room, but she kept her distance. She was looking at me with a serious face and she told me she was pregnant. I quickly figured out that it could not be mine, and that is how she basically decided to share that she was having an affair. Needless to say, I was devastated. We broke up and I had no motivation to keep going. My business at this point was losing more money than it was making, and I had no motivation to save it. I eventually decided to cut my losses and sell. In order to cover my losses, I had to take a pretty big loan, and at that point, I also decided to move in with my parents to be able to save as much as I could. After a while, I started working as a security guard in a textile factory at night, just sitting there looking at cameras. As the months passed, loneliness started creeping in, so I tried my luck with various dating apps. Like many, I tried finding an attractive girl to start a relationship with. However, I quickly learned that a now mid-30s balding divorced guy in debt who is living with his parents was not a very desirable prospect for most ladies. After heavily lowering my bar, I did have a few dates, and even those did not go well. Eventually, I was done with that too. At this point, I had really lost all motivation. I was just passing time aimlessly, lonely and depressed with nothing to live for. While spending so many nights at the guard post, I was working at the smartphone was the only thing keeping me company, and I was scrolling on social media a lot. That is when the algorithm gods started showing me clips of Thailand and especially Pattaya and Soy 6. I was blown away by this. I remember thinking, there is no way this is reality, where young attractive girls with revealing outfits just fight for your attention like this. Fascinated by this, I started digging more and more and eventually came to YouTube and your channel, Peter, which was a great friend of mine during all those long night shifts. I listened to almost all your stories, even those that you posted years ago, and enjoyed them and also learned from them a lot. With time, a new passion emerged and my newfound goal was to go to Thailand and experience this for myself. By that time, I was already covering most of my debt successfully while living with my parents, and I could realistically start saving for a trip like that. Another couple of months went by, and I was finally ready to have my first Thailand trip. This was actually the first time I went on a holiday by myself. At this point, I had not had any aerobics for years and had lost most of my self-confidence with females. I remember walking out of Suvarnabhumi airport to pure excitement in the air. I went inside a pink Hello Kitty themed cab with a lady driver who was friendly and drove me straight to my hotel in Bangkok. I had 10 days in total in Thailand. The first 3 days were planned in Bangkok and then the rest in Pattaya. The first day I was just soaking it all in, the heat, the friendliness of people. I was walking in a market and had this feeling of being seen and valued, even if it was just because I was a potential customer. That feeling I had not felt for a long time. I remember walking in a random street the first day and I saw two young Thai girls riding a motorcycle. The one on the back just looked at me and randomly smiled while they kept going. Such a small gesture, but I honestly do not remember the last time I had a young lady in the street just smiling at me for no reason. I decided to call it an early night that night because I was already weary from the flight and I needed a good night's sleep. The second day came, which I spent mostly relaxing. I saw some temples, walked around by myself and got a good foot massage which felt nice with great value for money. At around 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I felt ready to finally step into the notorious Thailand nightlife I had seen and heard so much about. It might sound silly to some, but just the thought of it made me so excited, but also nervous. So I finally reached Soy Cowboy. I could not bring myself to just walk inside it the first time, and I kept walking away for no reason. Anyway, I came back the same road I came from after gathering myself and relaxing a little, and I finally walked inside. The bright colours, the noise, and of course the ladies dazzled me. I planned to walk all the way back, but I was quickly grabbed by two beautiful girls outside a go-go bar. I did not put up much resistance and was quickly overwhelmed by all of it. So as they sat me inside a dark, quiet, isolated part of the bar, they sat next to me and started dancing and being playful. Quickly, they started asking me for drinks, and I got myself a beer, and for them, whatever they asked for. I did not even know or ask what the prices were. Soon enough, a third girl joined us in, and found myself surrounded by three stunners dancing and grinding around me, which was exhilarating. Of course, they kept asking me for more drinks, and I think every few minutes I brought them all a round of drinks, not really thinking about it, and I also felt a little bit nervous still and did not want to bring the mood down by declining their requests, if that makes sense. After about 30 minutes of pure dopamine came the bill. It was presented by three quite big and intimidating looking Thai men. It was about 16,000 baht. My enjoyment quickly turned to despair as I figured out how I probably just got rinsed and had no way around it. I did not think I'd brought that many drinks, but I was a foreigner in a shady place and I felt intimidated and ashamed, so I just caved in and I gave them what they asked for. Luckily, I had enough cash on me. That was a sum I thought would last for at least a couple of days, but I learned my harsh lesson from this experience and I moved on. After that night, I was determined to not be as careless, and the last night in Bangkok I spent in Nana Plaza, just soaking it all in, buying a few beers for myself and a few ladies' drinks while always making sure I checked the bill frequently. It was fun, and I was already beginning to gain some self-confidence in these situations. In the next morning, it was finally time to go to Pattaya. I was staying at a hotel near Soi Buakhao and spent the light hours chilling by the pool and resting in my room. As the evening set in, I felt like it was time to go out to the bars and enjoy myself. That first night in Pattaya, I was staying only around Soi Buakhao and visited many bars. I was drinking a lot and having friendly interactions with most girls I came in contact with. It was also my first bar find with a petite 24-year-old Thai bar girl. Everything was totally fine and had no drama. The aerobics itself felt a bit mechanical though, and I didn't feel she was very much into it, but we had a mutual respect for one another and each provided what was expected from this kind of transaction. I gave her a nice tip, but all in all the night was reasonable and within the budget I set for myself. Second night, I decided to check out Walking Street and I spent some time in bars and in go-go clubs. I checked the most known ones like Windmill and XS. It was really great visual experience. I bought some drinks for myself and the ladies, but I was very restrained. I didn't bar find any go-go girl as the quotes I were getting were ridiculous, but I did have a good time overall. Later that night, I bar find a girl from a different bar in Soi Buakhao, which was again great fun, but obviously a transactional deal with a price set in advance. She insisted I take a shower and wash my mouth before any aerobics, which is fair, I guess, and she also did the same. Each showered solo, of course. Again, gave a nice tip and thanked her for her experience, and I went to sleep by myself. As the third night approached, I decided I was prepared at this point. I felt like I already made a huge progress working on self-confidence and restraint, and my mind was in the right place, knowing this is a dream and not reality. So with this newfound wisdom, I finally made my way to the place that made me be going to this vacation in the first place. I was going to Soi 6. Entering the 6, I immediately felt the same way I felt in Soi Cowboy the first night going out, and the feeling was exciting to say the least. The street was huge compared to Cowboy, and the number of ladies was much higher. I think this has to be the best place on this whole godforsaken earth. So I started walking in the street and actually did manage to fend off some of the girls who were trying to grab me at this point. Eventually I had to walk to a narrow spot because of a car driving by, and I had to walk very close to one particular bar girl. Her name starts with the letter B, so let's call her B from now on. A young Thai girl, looks to be in her early 20s, average height, maybe a little short, tanned, dark long hair and brown eyes, soft face, which was beautiful and looked innocent. She was wearing a skirt and a small top, so you could see her thighs and her stomach, which was very attractive to me. She instantly caught my eye, and she wasn't pushy also. She just looked back and smiled gracefully, and we both greeted each other, and for a moment that felt the most genuine interaction in the midst of all this chaos, colours and noise. Of course, I gladly agreed to go with her to the bar she worked for, and we had a couple of drinks, and what I can definitely say felt like great chemistry between us. I know it's her job to make me feel like this, but at that point I had other interactions with other bar girls and felt this was totally different. I know the she's different cliche, but she really was. We sat for about an hour and talked mostly via Google Translate, but she did have an okay level of English. The hour went by so fast, and she wasn't pushy with drinks at all. Only bought her about 3 and myself a beer and a soda. During this time, we also kissed a lot. That was mostly initiated by her, which further amplified the feeling like she was really into it and not just doing her job. I felt amazing, to say the least. Imagine after this kind of divorce and years of loneliness, I finally felt loved and desirable, and the validation was intoxicating. The whole experience was really... Of course, I paid her bar fine and I took her for the night. It was probably the best night of my adult life. We stayed up till late and just talked. I learned she was from Isan and had a 3-year-old daughter who was living with her parents back in her village. She had a Thai partner who cheated on her, so they broke up after that. She was also studying in university but had to take a break from studies to make money for her daughter and parents, who I learnt were in debt. She shared with me that she also had struggles dealing with depression, like me, and which made me feel the connection was even more genuine and deep. Obviously, we didn't only talk, and we also did have aerobics, which felt miles better than the other interactions I had with bar girls so far. I was convinced she was really into it and enjoyed herself too. Either that or she was a really good actress. After the deed was done, we slept the night together. Back at the bar, she asked me for 2,000 baht for a long time, not including the bar fine. But in the morning, when it was time for her to leave, I gave her 4,000 baht. From that point onwards, B was the only thing on my mind. I bar fined and paid her 4,000 baht every night for the next 3 nights. By the last night, I had really used up all of my savings at this point and went a little over budget I set for myself. I told her on the line app that I will come and visit and drink with her a little bit, but I will not be able to pay for her time outside of the bar. She told me she liked me a lot and she wouldn't mind spending the last night with me for free, and I only needed to pay the bar fine. I gladly did that for another night with her, which concluded my vacation. The last morning was especially rough, waking up the next day to this beautiful creature that finally showed me the affection I was craving so desperately, knowing I had to leave. We said our goodbyes and promised to stay in touch via line. I heard a lot about the dreadful moments you are finally at the airport on your return leg home, but then it was my turn to experience a sense of utter despair, knowing I'm going back to living with my parents and working nights watching cameras in a textile factory. The thought of having B to talk to me made it a little easier, at least. After returning home, we did talk every day for a while, but after a week or so, she sent me a photo of a new motorbike in a shop with a price tag of 60,000 baht and asked me if I could help. This request kind of shattered the illusion a little bit, and I somehow brought myself to say no. Well, honestly, if I had the money, I might have sent it, but my financial status is not great, as I described. Maybe I'm lucky, I don't have a lot to lose. She said it was okay and she understood my situation. We proceeded to talk a little bit more, but quickly I noticed her interest was fading. I figured she probably moved on to the next one. I don't judge her, and I understand she needs the money to make ends meet for herself and family, and I still believe that at least some of it was genuine affection. Today it's been a couple of months since the trip. I'm still doing the same thing, but I have a little more motivation to make money and even take a better care of myself and my health by working out more. From being completely aimless, I now have the goal of being better prepared physically, mentally and financially for my next Thailand adventure, which should come at the start of 2026. I'm not sure if it would be a good idea to see B again and haven't fully decided my plans yet. But I might not be able to resist wanting to meet her again and relive the 10 days dream with B by myself. P.S. I really enjoy when you share your thoughts after telling a story. I think it is very helpful getting advice from the more experienced, especially for guys like me who are new to this. I hope to get your thoughts on my story. Okay, so I will give you my thoughts on your story, but nothing, I'm not going to hammer you, nothing too critical because it was your first time. And frankly speaking, I think everybody makes the same mistakes that you made on your first trip. You know, you're giving girls too much money. You're not asking for the bills. The bar you went into in Soy Cowboy, I'm pretty sure I think I know which bar you went because they tried to rip off my friend Simon and me. But my friend Simon speaks fluent Thai, so he had an argument in Thai and they basically gave up. They like to target foreigners. Now, unfortunately, I can't tell you the name of that bar because of the online law here in Thailand. It's very, very strict. You can't talk negatively about a business, a bar, or anybody here in Thailand. You can actually get arrested for it. So if I met you then in person for a lunch or a beer, I would tell you. But I can't announce it on a video like this, unfortunately. Just be very, very careful. There are 2 or 3 go-go bars in Soy Cowboy. They are known for it, but I'll give you a tip. The biggest way to find out, if you're going in and out of go-go bars on Soy Cowboy, and even on a quiet night, if all the go-go bars have got a few customers in there, or maybe a few more, and you walk into a go-go bar and there's nobody in there, or there's just one person. The reason nobody's in there is because regulars don't go in there because they know it. And it's like myself living here in Thailand. I don't go out much these days, but if I went to Soy Cowboy, I would avoid those 3 bars because I know they'll try to rip me off. And the other expats who live out here, they do the same. Hence, when you walk into those bars, there's nobody in them. You know, they rip people off. The only other thing I'd say is, yeah, okay, you spent a bit too much money and you're a bit, you fell for that girl beer. But I think everybody does that on their first trip, and you're going to, the next time you go back, you won't spend so much money, or you'll spend it wisely. And yeah, I mean, like I say, no criticism. You've now got your Thailand stripes. You've been once, and like everybody else, you want to go back again. So good luck to you. Right, okay, a little bit short of this story. This is our final story of the morning. This is story number 3. In 2015, I was coming to grips with several key issues in my life. During this year, I had both my knee joints replaced, started active planning for my retired life, which would begin in December 2016, and was trying to decide if I wanted to continue my marriage to my wife of over 40 years. I got interested in travelling to Thailand because of a friend of mine had married a Thai woman as his second wife, and she was delightful. I had always been very attracted to Asian women, but did not realise this attraction until after I had married my first wife. I decided to focus on Thailand as a retirement trip destination because of my friend. He had brought a condo in Bangkok and offered me free use of his condo for the trip. I researched various YouTube channels and tried to understand what I would find in Thailand. I'm not a drinker and really would be a fish out of water in the bar scene, so in 2015 I joined Thai Friendly and started talking to a few women from Thailand. After a month or so, I had decided to concentrate on 2 women who spoke passable English. They both knew I would not be travelling to Thailand for 2 years. For the next 2 years, I talked with them almost every day. We explored our dreams, the frustrations of daily life, and our goals for the future. We told each other about our past and what we had learnt from some of our mistakes. The first woman, Annie, was a clerk for a travel agency. She was 35 years old, a little shy, Christian and unattached. We did not share the same educational background or wide variety of life experiences. I wanted a woman who loved aerobics, and since she had no first-hand experience in that area, from what she told me, I was left to wonder if I was willing to take a chance at my age. I decided to move on. I then met Kiki. She was a very honest woman. We started talking because she wanted to improve her English. She was a head accountant for a Japanese company in Thailand and used English to communicate with the Home Office. Within the first 2 weeks, she told me she was raising 2 children and they were her world. Kiki told me she was a Buddhist, a religion I knew very little about. Since in Thailand, most men will not look romantically at a woman who has children, she wanted to let me know earlier on. Many men look at raising another man's children as a burden. I told her that it did not bother me, that I enjoyed our conversation and was happy to help her improve her English, and even over time I developed feelings for her. The children would not be a problem because I looked at them as part of her, not part of another man. I told her I enjoyed being a father and a grandfather. As my trip to Thailand neared, I decided to concentrate on Kiki. She made excellent money for Thailand, had a car and had a house. I knew for a fact that she did not need my money to save her from a life of poverty. Unlike a number of Thai women, she insisted on keeping her children with her and did not send them back to grandma in the province. Her life was very busy and demanding, but she never complained. She accepted the challenges of being a single parent and always kept a positive attitude. I retired December 20, 2016. I met my Thai girl on January 4th, 2017, and we spent time together during the 6 weeks I was in Thailand. She had a very busy schedule with work and children, so we did not spend all our time together. Her vacation time was very limited, and she only took a couple of days off work to be with me, but she was very sweet, honest, and charming. She gave me hope for the future. Kiki spent the 6 weeks making sure I did not think she was after my money. She often paid for our meals out and refused to take any money for the many things I did for her. She said I spent so much to get to Thailand, she wanted me to relax and enjoy her country. On the first trip, I never saw her house, and she told me I would not see her children because she did not want to get their hopes up about this American man. But after a month, she brought the children by to meet me one Saturday afternoon. It was awkward because I did not speak Thai and the children did not speak English, but we got along well. I asked Kiki before she left to consider if this relationship continued to develop, would she consider marrying me and moving to the USA? I told her I did not want an answer right away, but would ask for it in a month. When I got back to the USA, we kept talking. When I finally asked for the answer, she told me she was open to the idea and wanted to keep developing our understanding of each other. I returned for an additional 3 weeks at the end of 2017. On this trip, we rented a condo near where the children attended private school. We all lived together during that trip and I got to see her real life in Bangkok. It was on this trip I asked her to marry me and move to the US. She said yes, providing she could visit my house and town and see if it were good and fit for her children. We also talked about the children and felt we needed to ask her daughter, who was a freshman in a high school, if she was willing to move to the USA. I had heard crash and burn stories about older children being taken to other countries against their will and all the problems it caused for the marriage. Fortunately for us, her daughter was excited about the possibility of being half a world apart from her biological father, who was uncaring and verbally abusive. In April 2018, she got a visa to visit and brought her ticket to come see me. We spent 10 days together and I showed her my town and arranged for her to talk to the local school system about the English as a second language program. Her children still did not speak English at this time, but I knew the school system had a wonderful program to work with recent immigrant children who needed to learn English. Before she left, we filled out the forms required for a fiancé visa and started making plans to marry. In January 2019, I returned to visit Bangkok again. On this trip, I lived with her and the children in her house. We were nearing the end of our application process and knew her visa would be approved or denied within months. On this 4-week trip, I married Kiki in a Buddhist marriage ceremony, so her family and friends could share our joy. We did not register the marriage, so it did not complicate our fiancé visa process. In May 2019, she and her children moved to the USA and we were married a week later. We have now been married for 6 years, have been very happy as a family. Her daughter, who is now 22 years old, graduated with honours from the local high school and got nearly a full ride scholarship to a local private university. Her son is in his second year of high school and learning how to drive. My wife insisted on working to help support the family, and she is now head accountant for a local, not-for-profit organisation. I think our success, where so many others fail, is based on our similar life experiences. We both have college degrees, we both worked in technical fields, we both had managerial experience, and we love to talk and share life experiences with each other. From the time I started talking to her until we were married was over 4 years. So in the end, I did not rush into marriage and we had lots of time to get to know each other. My wife has always been very honest with me and we are both committed to making this marriage work. Wow, absolutely brilliant. What a story. So, over the past 5 years, I've been telling a lot of stories and there's very few that work out like this. I think he's a very brave man to take on 2 children from another marriage. Obviously, she was testing him to make sure he was sincere in saying that he didn't mind. And the fact that he managed to get everybody a visa, get them back to the States. The kids have done very well at school. She's got a job, so obviously she's a good woman. And his life's turned out well. All I can say is congratulations. And it's such a nice story to read. And yeah, there is still hope, So if you're looking for a Thai wife or a Thai girlfriend, who knows? It could happen to you. And in fact, what he says about having a lot of things in common, I've now been with my Thai girlfriend for 3 years. She lives with me and we get on really, really well. And I think it's true what he says. My girlfriend and myself, we have so many things in common. We both like to walk in the park. We like the same food. We like to do the same things. And if you get somebody who's compatible with you in that way, not just in the bedroom department, then it can work out very, very long term. Okay, that's all I've got to say on the matter. But again, such a nice story, and I hope to get more stories like this in the future. All right, guys, that's the end. Me rambling on as always. I'll be back next week with some brand new stories. I'm getting plenty of stories sent in now, so thank you for them. But as always, if you have a story, it doesn't have to be about Thailand. If it's a little bit quirky, a little bit funny, something happened to you, send it in. I'll have a read, and if I read it, I'll change your name, make it anonymous, and you too can hear your story read out right here on Thailandbound. Thanks for listening again, and I'll catch everybody again with another video next week.